Breaking news, Jade just became our strongest pure fiction unit, completely destroying any pure fiction content as long as she is in the team. So the question is, can she perform in Memory of Chaos and Apocalyptic Shadows? Hey guys, MrPokke here, back with another video. Today we're going to be going through Jade's early impressions based on the Creator Experience program. Note that everything in the Creator Experience server, they are not final product. I will be going through her kit, her Eidolons, her Lightcones, as well as some of her performance in Memory of Chaos, be it Hypercarry Jade, Jade with Blade, Jade with another follow-up unit, all the kind of stuff, right? So without further ado, let's get into today's content. Subscribe! So, briefly going through the summary of Jade's kit. She is essentially a support that also deals damage. For Jade specifically, she is tied up to this mechanic called the Dead Collector, right? So she'll buff an ally, and whenever that ally hits a target, you'll get a couple of stacks, and then Jade will deal damage with the follow-up attacks, right? Jade's majority damage output will be coming up from her talent, which is the follow-up attack. So her basic attack is going to be Lash of Riches, just a very normal basic attack, nothing too much. But something interesting is that she will be definitely using this a lot of times, because after casting Dead Collector, which is the skill, you cannot use her skill again until Dead Collector expires. So you will be using this basic attack quite frequently, and it's pretty good that we do target adjacent enemies as well. So it is a 3 target similar to a destruction unit, right? So that's going to be the basic attack, Lash of Riches, and then going to the skill is going to be the Acquisition Surety, which is the one that allows us to mark the Dead Collector onto a target ally. Pretty much you will never ever use this on Jade herself because it is completely useless. So you will always want to use this for an ally, even if you are going to be doing Hypercarry Jade. It is much better to just use it on an ally so they can gain stacks quicker, right? So that's going to be that. Increasing their speed by 30, lasting for 3 turns, and deals 1 additional instance of quantum damage equivalent to 25% of Jade's attack, and consumes the Dex Collector HP by 2% of their max HP. So yes, this does in fact work with Blade. So players who are thinking of building a proper Jade and Blade comp, rest assured this does work. So you do in fact get a much faster float rotation. So I'll just quickly show a demonstration over here. So this is the start of battle. Jade will provide Blade the Dead Collector. So now that he does have the stack, you'll first gain 1 stack from using Blade's skill. So now he's at 2 stacks, assuming that you started with Blade's technique, right? So now you're at 2 stacks. Normally this will only stop at 3 stacks without Jade's skill, but because of Jade's Dead Collector, you will now gain an additional stack, right? So now you will gain 4 stacks instead of 3 stacks. And note how Jade herself, she also gains 3 stacks of the follow-up tracers in order to trigger the follow-up attack quite quickly, because Blade's enhanced attack does hit 3 different targets. You hit 1 target, that's the main target, so it's going to be 5, and then once you hit the 2 adjacent targets along, then that's going to be 7, right? Even though he does hit this main target twice consecutively, it wouldn't count. It has to be different targets, right? So Jade will gain 3 stacks essentially, right? So that's gonna be that. 4 stacks, Bronya buffing up Blade, then he is gonna do 1 more enhanced basic attack, and this will allow us to hit the 5 stacks. Unfortunately, because Blade cannot generate stacks beyond 5, which means he can't do a 6 out of 5, Blade doesn't really get the full benefits from Jade's skill, because it caps out at 5 out of 5. It doesn't go to 6 out of 5. Whereas for Jade, you do get a additional stack, since this is going to be hitting 3 targets, so 7 plus 3, you're going to get 10. So now you can see that Blade's follow-up in fact hits 4 different targets. Therefore, Jade is going to gain 4 stacks of the talent, right? So now Jade is going to go ahead and use her follow-up very nicely, and then when Blade hits another ultimate, then she's going to get another 3 stacks, because this is going to hit 3 targets. You can see over here. And then Jade is going to get 9 out of 8, right? So one last thing before we move on with the skill is that the Dead Collector will go down whenever Jade's turn begins. So it is exactly the same as Robin, it is exactly the same as Rame. All of their buffs will go down upon their actual caster's turn. So that is essentially how Jade's skill is going to work. Pretty much any unit that you're going to be buffing them, depending on the number of targets that you are going to be hitting, Jade will gain this stacks to a talent. And speaking of her talent, Fan of Flare Flaying. After Jade on an ally with Dead Collector attacks, we gain 1 charge for each enemy attack. And when we reach 8, we will consume 8 and deal 1 follow-up damage, dealing equivalent to 120% to all enemy targets. Note that this follow-up attack, it does not generate any charge. Otherwise, it will be completely broken and we have infinite cycles, right? We also gain 5 stacks of pawned assets. So this is separate from the stacks, right? The stacks are a charge. Pawned asset is going to be the one that increases the crit damage by 2.4% up to 50 stacks, and this does not expire. So you can infinitely stack this on with 120% crit damage, which is really nice, as well as some attack, which I'm going to show you guys from major traces later on. But this is going to be pretty much Jade's bread and butter, and you are going to be leveling this up as much as you can, because that's where majority of the damage is coming from. So this also kind of ties to Jade's basic attack itself, because you can see the Jade's basic attack, it is a 3 target, right? It is a 3 target, so Jade herself, she can in fact gain 3 stacks. And then going to Jade's ultimate Vow of the Deep, deals quantum damage equivalent to 240% to all targets at 140 energy cost, and enhances the next follow-up attack, increasing the multiplier by 80% up to 2 times. So very straightforward ultimate. You basically just cast this whenever you can to build up your stacks, to make your remaining follow-up attacks deal more damage. So just a very straightforward ultimate. One thing to keep in mind that this 140 energy cost, it really reduces the impact of ultimate, because she's forced to use a basic attack. You can't use skill Jade, she has to use basic attack. And as we know, basic attack only generates 20 energy, right? Even though she does have quite a bit of follow-up attacks from her talent, it can take a while for us to reach 140 energy, because she has no other real means of getting this aside from consistent high number of follow-up stacks. Which means Hypercarry Jade might be a little bit difficult, since our supports that are supporting Hypercarry Jade, they don't really generate stacks as quickly, since our supports don't have multi-target, right? With the only exception of Pella, pretty much almost all of our supports, they only hit a single target. So it can take a while for Hypercarry Jade to stack up her stacks. But you guys will see how the battle works out later on when I show you guys an example. But that is basically it. Nothing too crazy to be discussed over here. And one more thing before I jump into the traces is going to be the technique. After using the technique, inflicts enemy within a set area with blind fealty for 10 seconds. Enemies inflicted with blind fealty will not actively attack allies. If you're not going to reorder, you basically gain 15 stacks of pawn asset, which converts to crit damage buff for Jade, right? So you start off with 15, and you always use this because it does not enter into battle. It is not an offensive technique such as Firefly or Blaze technique, right? So you will always be using this, and that's pretty much it. Then jumping into major traces, the first one is going to be reverse repo. When enemies enter the combat, Jade gains 1 set of pawn asset whenever a new enemy enters. So for waves like Pure Fiction, she's actually really good, and she can stack on up to 50 pawn asset really quickly. And whenever Debt Collector allies turn start, Jade also gains another 3 stacks of pawn asset. So it might seem a little bit crazy that we need to stack 50, which is a very large amount from a variety of different means. So this is going to be really nice. When the battle starts, Jade's action is advanced forward by 50%. This is probably one of MiHoYo's way of hinting to us that we should be building Jade in a slow fashion and still allow Jade to go first. Very similar to Robin, right? We still build Robin as a slow Robin, and then we do have the action value advance somewhat similar to a Von Whack, so that we can still gain our buffs, right? We still want Jade to go first because we want her to apply the Debt Collector to our ally. So this is going to be quite important. And for the last bonus trait, it's going to be asset forfeiture. Each stack of talents upon asset additionally increase the attack by 0.5%. So at a maximum 50 stacks, you are going to gain a 25% attack from this trait, as well as the 120 crit damage for Jade herself, right? So you can see that even though Jade is somewhat like a support, you want to buff your allies, but personal damage, it starts to get quite obvious from a follow-up attacks from her ultimate, and as well as all of these pawned asset stacks, right? So this is starting to tell me that Jade as a unit, she's might be more suitable for Pure Fiction compared to contents like Memory of Chaos or even Apocalyptic Shadows, right? So something to keep in mind. And then for minor traces, it's going to be roughly 22.4% quantum damage boost, 18% attack, and 10% effect rest. Unfortunately, she does not have a single crit trace, so it is a little bit unfortunate there. And without her signature Lightcone, since she does not have any crit chase in 2024, which is crazy, reaching her optimal crit rate can become a little bit difficult. Do keep in mind that we are going to be getting 120% crit damage from the trace alone, which means that we are going to need a lot of crit rate. And hopefully you guys have some sort, even if you have a double crit gear, you probably want a higher focus on the crit rate subset instead of the crit damage subset, just because of how pawn asset works. And jumping into the Lightcone, yet hope is priceless. 16% crit rate, 48% follow-up attack damage, and our ultimate and follow-up attacks ignore 20% of our target's defense. So the stat gain from this Lightcone is absolutely insane for not just Jade, but units like Argenti, Jingyuan, Qingque, or pretty much almost every single Eidolons unit, they will see a massive damage increase from running this Lightcone because of the 20% defense ignore on top of all of our very useful crit rate buff as well as follow-up attack damage buff. This Lightcone does in fact perform better than Before Dawn or Jingyuan, which is crazy, right? That being said, for Jade herself, it doesn't necessarily improve the overall team damage that much because it is only for Jade's personal damage. And because we don't really play Jade as a hyper carry, because like I mentioned before, even when we play Jade as a hyper carry, the number of stacks we gain from the charges from that collector is very, very small. It is not going to be too crazy. That being said, stacking defense ignore with Quantum Set, Zero Wolf or Pella, it can help Jade reach the 100% defense reduction quite easily, so it can see a pretty sizable damage increase, right? If you are not gonna be using Jade's signature Lightcone, other options would probably be Today is Another Peaceful Day, which is a permanent 56% damage buff at S5, which is a Battle Pass Lightcone, or Before Dawn does miss out on the 48% follow-up damage bonus, quite frankly. If you are gonna be going to use Jade in the pure fiction, then Knight of the Milky Way or Eternal Calculus, they're all pretty decent options. Her main strength for Jade, anyways, like I mentioned just now, it seems to be in pure fiction, where there are always 4 to 5 targets available for Jade or that collector to charge the talent, right? So that's gonna be that. Then just very briefly going through some of her recommended relic options. 4-piece Genius, 4-piece Quantum, that's pretty much going to be Jade's best in slot. And if you were to get a Signature Lightcone, this is going to stack up very, very well, right? But unfortunately, we do need to rely on the enemy being Quantum weak to get the full 20% defense ignore. Other than that, 4-piece Quantum is going to be just that universal. We can also use the 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke, which gives us 20% follow-up attack damage and 24 to 48% attack percentage. The stats you gain from 4-piece Duke, it is absolutely massive, and it can rival 4-piece Quantum when there are no other sorts of defense threat. So if you are going to be using Jade with a team like, for example, like Topaz, Ramei, or like Robin, like just multiple follow-up attackers, or like Bronya and Blade, then this can definitely outperform Quantum 4-piece, right? And then one last option is going to be the 4-piece Windsource Survivarius, which is our brand new 4-piece, 12% attack, 6% crit rate, and follow-up attacks increase ultimate damage by 36% per 1 turn. Unfortunately, Jade deals majority of the damage through the follow-up attacks and not ultimate damage. So it is not going to be as optimal compared to the Grand Duke or the 4-piece Quantum, but it is a decent byproduct if you have been farming a lot for our Firefly, right? So that's going to be that. But for our planar ornaments, is definitely going to be Duran, Dynasty of Running Wolves, going to be giving us additional crit damage as well as follow-up attack damage, right? There's also a small ramp up here at the start, although Jade has synergy with follow-up attacks or anyone that can launch frequent attacks in general. So plus 25% follow-up attack damage and 25% crit damage, it does outweigh any of the other options if we can stack this up, right? If you don't have this, then Inner Sasolo is going to be the next best in choice because Jade is ultimately still a follow-up attacker, right? Then one last segment I want to talk about before we jump into the actual performance I found with Jade myself is going to be her Eidolons. So for Jade's Eidolons specifically, the only main Eidolon that really changes a lot is pretty much Jade's Eidolon 1. That is pretty much it. Yeah, so for Jade's Eidolon 1, you can see here the follow-up attack damage bonus from Montana increased by 32%, and after the deck collector uses an attack and hits 2 or 1 target, we gain additional 1 or 2 points of charge. This Eidolon is going to be the most important one because it allows single target characters to effectively gain charges for Jade's talent. Specifically, Topaz, Dr. Ratio, even Pella, Gallagher, who can frequently launch attacks, right? Because of all the different follow-ups, the Gallagher, the ultimate action very advanced. So it's going to be really, really good. And also does help against a scenario where there are no mobs for you. So usually, if you are not going to be playing Jade in pure fiction, if you're going to be playing her in Memory of Chaos, if there's only like 2 targets or even 1 single target, it can be a little bit difficult to trigger Jade's follow-up talents. So getting this Eidolon 1 will allow Jade to transition a little bit better in scenarios where there's only a single target. Eidolon 2 is when there are 15 stacks upon asset, crit rate increased by 80%. It is basically an 18% crit rate buff, pretty much it. Then E4, when using ultimate, the damage Jade deals ignores 12% of the target's defense, lasting for 3 turns. So after essentially means that after we cast our Jade's ultimate for 3 turns, any damage coming from Jade is gonna ignore 12% of the target's defense, which is honestly not too bad. The only problem is, like I mentioned just now, Jade's ultimate does have a very, very high cost of 140, so it may take a while to get this going. But other than that, because we can trigger multiple follow-ups in a single turn, this can be quite beneficial to reach 100% defense rate. Although if we are already hitting 100% defense rate, then this is going to be completely useless. So that's going to be that. And then one last Eidolon is going to be Eidolon 6, Equity Pending Sponsorship. When there are debt collectors on the field, Jade's Quantum Rest Pen increased by 20%, and Jade gains the debt collector state. In my opinion, I mean, Rest Pen is always going to be good, so that's going to be great. But the second line, when Jade gains the debt collector state, me personally, I'm not really sure if this changes anything. You basically gain the additional 25% of Jade's attack. The additional quantum damage is pretty much it. I don't think there's any other benefit of Jade herself getting the dead collector state, because with or without dead collector, Jade can already gain stacks. After Jade or an ally that has dead collector attacks, we will gain a stacks for our talent. So it's not like Jade needs the Eidolon 6 to gain stacks for herself. So the only thing that I noticed this E6 changing is basically the 25% additional quantum damage. Even if Jade becomes a deck collector, she cannot gain the speed buff. Then this Eidolon 6 is pretty much just 20% rest pen and additional 25% damage, which is it's alright, I guess. That's pretty much all I have for Jade's kit. Eidolons, Lightcones, Tracers, all that kind of stuff. And now we're gonna jump into her actual in-game performance. So this is gonna be the team for Jade featuring Blade, Bronya, and Luocha, right? So you can see over here, we're always gonna be starting out with our Jade's techniques, Bronya's techniques, Luocha's technique, and enter the battle with a technique. Very, very standard stuff. And this is supposedly going to be Blade's quote-unquote best in slot team comp, right? With a sustain anyways. So you can see here, our Blade is gonna go ahead and hit this target, getting 4 instead of 3 stacks. Bronya buffing Blade up. And we are gonna be able to get our follow-up stack over here. Very, very nice. One big follow-up. Jade has 10 stacks. Boom, one follow-up from Jade as well. And Blade is gonna unload his ultimate, dealing decent damage to both targets. Unfortunately, it didn't really crit that, so it is what it is. Yeah, so right now we are just gonna be doing our normal stuff. Roger is gonna be healing. So just fast forward this a little bit. Jade is gonna basic attack. We do get 2 stacks because there's 2 enemies remaining, and we are gonna get off another follow-up attack. Jade is now gonna go ahead and go for it into one follow-up attack, gaining more stacks, and Bronya is gonna buff Blade once again. We do cast our enhanced follow-up, and then we are gonna get Bronya's ultimate, and now we're gonna get Jade's ultimate, just to get everybody in line with together. One very big hit, insane ultimate damage, insane ultimate animation, absolutely insane, and we're gonna see a Blade dealing into another Jade follow-up. So you can see that the damage distribution between Blade and Jade, it can be quite proportionate. Right, Blade himself is doing damage, and Jade herself also does a decent chunk of damage, if I can say so myself. Alright, so we are going to see a decent follow-up attack, and Bronya is just going to go ahead and go up. And notice how this entire time, every single time Bronya buffs Blade, Blade will not consume additional deck collector states, right? Because deck collector, it is tied to Jade speed, not Blade speed. Jade, I'm gonna get a little bit confused. Alright, but anyways, there's gonna be that. Once I got clearing the first half, and now we are gonna be going into the fight against Sabrock. Like I mentioned, these scenarios in Memory of Chaos where there are not a lot of enemies for our Jade to gain the charges for the talent, we can see a little bit of a difficulty with regards to dealing the highest amount of damage, right? Unlike Pure Fusion, where there's always like 4 enemies, 5 enemies, in Memory of Chaos stages like this, when there's only like 2 elites, like imagine if this stage did not have the throttle. What are we gonna do? It's basically just 2 enemies, right? So that's when Jade's stack gaining capabilities can be a little bit problematic, and it might take a while for us to deal the highest amount of follow-up damage from Jade. Fast forward, it is currently going into the 4th cycle, but we are gonna be able to get the 3 cycle clear from Jade and Blade. Of course, these gears, like I'm just keeping it back. This is just really, this is the best I've got in order to hit the 135 speed. So basically, my Blade stats is just really not that good. Just take this with a pinch of salt. If your Blade has a much better stats, if your Jade have much better stats, then this will definitely be performing a lot better, right? A pretty decent 3 cycle clear, no issues whatsoever, quite comfortable. This is just a very comfortable team, if I can say so myself. Hypercarry Jade setup that I'm pretty sure some of you guys are interested in. You can see this is going to be my Jade Relics E0S1, 76% crit rate, 94% crit damage, and this is pretty much going to be something that you guys are going to be seeing in reality, because number 1, I said Jade does not have crit rate tracers, right, at all. Having low crit damage on Jade is completely fine because we do gain 120% crit damage from pawn assets anyways. So this is effectively 77% crit rate into 210% crit damage, right? So honestly, not too bad. So we are going to be running Jade with Sparkle, Silver Wolf, as well as Huo, in order to showcase our demonstration. All E0S1 going against MOC11, and let's just see how this team is going to be performing featuring our Hypercarry Jade setup. Like I mentioned, we always want to be marking our dead collector on another target. You never ever want to mark the dead collector onto Jade herself, because you are effectively gaining the charges at half effectiveness, right? So it's really bad. Still Wolf going for the normal debuffs and ultimate, and we are just going to be building stacks for our Jade. Unfortunately, because we only our single target, right? Our Silver is only single target, so we are not going to be able to get a lot of stacks for Jade. And this is going to be a problem you're going to be seeing if you want to try and run Jade as a hyper carry. Because most of our supports, they are all single target. You can see we're gaining our stacks at a very, very slow pace, which is the reason why I feel that hyper carry Jade might not be as effective as players might think it is, right? Unless you get some kind of supports in the future, which also does like multi-target damage, such as the only example being Hela I can think of right now, which is the ultimate. Other than that, probably need to wait for Mihoy to cook up something more in the future, right? Our unit is crowd controlled, then they are unfortunately not able to let go of their follow-up attack. So Jade, unfortunately, is not going to be able to release the follow-up attacks because she did in fact get frozen, right? But it's fine because we did get a dispel from Sparkle as well as Pokke, so that's going to be like 258,000 from the Silver Wolf Diva as well as Sparkle buff. So she can definitely deal damage, no problem, right? A hyper carry Jade can definitely deal damage. It's just how fast can she deal this damage? And from experience, this is gonna be taking a while, right? We are going into the second cycle already at this point. Hopefully I can get it clear over here. Ooh, not quite enough. So we are gonna be getting a 2-cycle clear on the very first wave. Now we are gonna be getting Sparkle, buffing up Jade, and this is probably gonna be the kill. Hyper carry Jade is just a little bit scuffed because we can only basic attack. There's nothing else we can do, and we have to just wait for our follow-up attacks. That's pretty much it. So going in, pretty decent damage from a follow-up. It's just that with a hyper carry Jade, our stacks ramping up time is gonna be very, very slow since they're all single target, right? That's basically it. I think we should be able to get the kill at the 5-step quantum. Is this enough? Ooh, almost enough. 1% health remaining. But we did luckily get hit here, so we are gonna get Jade's ultimate, getting us the 3-cycle clear against Memory of Chaos floor 11. Yeah, so far, I think from what I've experienced is that Jade's performance in Memory of Chaos, although it is good, right? You can still get a 3-cycle clear. It's very, very nice, even having like very, very bad relics. It is still quite comfortable. You can definitely use Jade to clear content, right? But where Jade truly shines, Pure Fiction is going to be Jade's best scenario from what I found out, right? In Memory of Chaos and Pokke Shadow and Pure Fiction, Jade really, really excels exceedingly well in Pure Fiction. So this is going to be a team featuring Herta, Jade, Robin, and Huo. And you can see how ridiculously quick we can get our charges for Jade to let go of her talent and just deal a lot of fall terror. So we're going to be buffing our Herta with that collector. Robin is going to be giving us, as you know, our additional attack, our additional damage from our ultimate, all that. You can see how quickly Jade stacks on these follow-up attacks. Absolutely insane Pure Vision buffs. Going for an ultimate. We got this 5 targets. We're going to get 9 stacks into a very nice follow-up again. Clearing the waves. One more hit. Getting this into wave 2 almost instantly. Target ultimate, 5 targets, gaining us 5 stacks instantly. Into another Herta, 5 hits. And we're just almost every single turn, we are getting a follow-up attack in Pure Fiction using Jade. And Herta, right? This can be Herta, this can be Kimiko. Pretty much any of the Eldritch units which generates a lot of multi-target attacks, it's gonna be performing quite well, Jade. Herta specifically because of all the follow-ups, the ultimate and skill, they all hit 5 targets, which is very, very nice. And at this point, I haven't used my Robin's ultimate at all, right? So far, it has been going very, very well. Robin is gonna go for a hit over here, giving us one more follow-up, absolutely insane, into another follow-up. And now we're finally going to be casting our Robin's ultimate just to get a little bit of a action value before this turn ends. One ultimate, big hit. But there's only 3 targets, that's what it is, but this we can't really gain all the stacks. 7 here, 5 targets, absolutely insane stacking capabilities. As well as the Pure Vision buff, of course, so not too much to be said over there. Where doing Huawei things, Huawei is the gold, buffing our entire team's attack as well as energy. And now Jade's just going to do her thing. Basic attack into a follow-up, 198,000 into another follow-up from Herta, into another Pure Vision buff. Then we're going to cast the ultimate from the 3 branches, 5 targets. Absolutely insane, 249, 230,000, 89,000 into another follow-up. And then we are going to be getting another 3 branch. Herta's going to cast the ultimate and we're going to get another follow-up attack from Jade. Absolutely insane stacking, 11 out of 8. And at this point, Jade just completely popping off. So you can see this is where Jade truly shines. I would say that she might be one of, if not the best Pure Vision unit up there with Herta, up there with Argenti, all the counts are right. So that's performing exceedingly well with all of the buffs. So yeah, it's just overall insane unit for Pure Vision. Boom, done, getting out of the way. insane performance from Jade, right? Insane performance rate for Pure Fiction. And speaking about Pure Fiction, you guys are definitely going to be interested in Apocalyptic Shadows, right? So how does Jade perform in Apocalyptic Shadows? Unfortunately, not too good. This is with the additional charges we're going to be getting from a single target unit such as Topaz, right? So we are already getting the additional charges, but you can see that the performance is just really not that great, and you'll see why very quickly. Yeah, you can see this is where it starts to really slow down, because we are unfortunately not able to deal with Japar's toughness, and now Coca-Cola just takes absolutely no damage. And during this time, Coca-Cola is recovering, and we are gonna have to break her all over again. Japar's shield finally got broken, but now Coca-Cola went back to getting the toughness bar again. So we couldn't exactly deal enough damage to get rid of Coca-Cola when she's weakness broken. I guess we just didn't have enough burst damage. Keep in mind, of course, this is also taking into consideration that my gears in this Creator Experience server, it is definitely not great, right? And also another reason why Firefly performs so well in the Creator Experience server is because, you know, Super Break does not need good crit gears. They do not need insane Relics to perform, and now you can see here, the poor Relic quality I have in my account is really starting to hurt. 1,200-ish action value. Hopefully we can get a clear over here. 1%, not quite enough. So unfortunately, we are going to be slightly under. So yeah, unfortunately, we could only get 3,287 points with Rame, Gallagher, Topaz, and E1S1 Jade. But of course, keep in mind, this is also because we have very poor Relic quality. So it is what it is. Hopefully, you guys can replicate something better. I know definitely you guys definitely have better gears than this. So far from Memory of Chaos, from Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadows, Jade's performance has been the absolute best in Pure Fiction, but she's an absolute Pure Fiction goddess, right? So that is going to be how Jade's going to function. So one more example I'm going to be showing before we move on to the E6 Jade is going to be our E1S1 Jade with our E0S1 Argenti. Argenti has been said to be performing quite well with Jade because he has multi-targets, right? All of his skills, they are all AoE, 5 targets. So it might be possible to give our Jade a significant stack gaining potential, and we are going to see the performance right here, right? So I am going to be using Robin because the additional action does allow us to gain our stacks even quicker for Jade, right? Because Jade herself can also gain charges from talent. So you can see over here, Argenti with Jade's deck collector, upon hitting 4 targets of our skill, we are going to get 4 stacks for Jade's talent. So it's actually very clean. And now we did manage to get Robin's ultimate from Jade's follow-up, and now we're instantly able to go again. Jade, we're going to cast our ultimate first, dealing decent damage. Ooh, 129, not too bad. And now we're gonna get the fish defense down. Jade basic attacks. Huan is just gonna go ahead and use the basic attack as well, just do a little bit more. And because we're not dying anyways, Argenti, we are gonna use a basic attack because we are gonna be getting maximum energy from the reason why it's a basic attack that we are gonna get maximum ultimate anyways. And we are gonna get extra from Trotter, basic attack on the Trotter, getting Jade's follow-up into a fully set on Argenti ultimate, and then we're going to cast our skill later on. So that was my thought process anyways. So getting into one Argenti ultimate, quite big. 259,000 with Jade's additional damage. You can see over here, the additional damage from Jade's quantum damage buff, the deck collector buff, it is not too crazy. If I can say, it's 4,232. So it is not a very crazy amount. Even though Jade can gain a lot of stacks, but the additional damage that she provides for Argenti, it is not too impactful, if I can say so myself, right? So that's going to be that. But Jade herself, she does deal a decent amount of damage. There is only 2 targets because we do get the E1, so we are always going to be getting 3 stacks, so that's going to be great. But if you do have the E1, then it's going to be a little bit problematic, right? If you only have the E0, then you only get 2 stacks. So now we have decent stacking potential. Yep, 100,000 for the follow-up from Jade, very nice. So we should still get the almost 0 cycle, so it is what it is. Not quite enough to get a 0 cycle with our E1S1 Jade. So I should be able to get the 3 cycle here right here. 1 skill, and then we have an ultimate. Big stack, big damage. Oof. Getting off Argenti. So that is going to be a almost 4 cycle or 3 cycle clear for our E1S1 Jade featuring E0S1 Argenti, right? Then one last thing before we wrap up today's video is going to be our E6S1 Jade with our Topaz, which in my opinion, Jade, Topaz, Robin, Adventuring is probably our best in-slot team that we have for Jade right now. Especially if you do have E1S1 Jade, right? So now we're going to get an E6, and like I mentioned at the start of the video, I'm not exactly sure what does Jade E6 do, aside from the 20 quantum rest pen, because other than that, it's basically, it gives Jade deck collector, which changes nothing because it basically just gives us the additional quantum damage, which is very, very little, as you guys would have seen from Argenti's ultimate additional damage from just now, right? So let's just see if this changes anything. So now that Jade does the follow-up, we do I guess a decent amount of additional follow-up attack. We're just gonna let it go. So this is E6S1 Jade, guys. This is E6S1 Jade, so that's it. Yeah, I don't think this damage is that crazy. It is what it is. Let's just see if we can get a better hit after we get Robin's buffs up. Alright, let's see if this changes something. So we are gonna be able to get Robin's ultimate right after Jade goes. Yep. And yeah, all my teammates, they are speed tuned, so 1, 3, 4 and above, so that we can go twice before Robin. So after Jade goes here, we are gonna cast our Robin's ultimate. 1 follow-up, 3 decent damage, and now we're finally gonna cast Robin's ultimate. Argenti's gonna go, cast his ultimate. Hopefully we get decent amount of stacks. Yeah, 5 rolls, that's pretty good. 1 big ultimate. 200,000 into a follow-up. This is... oh my god. So now it's actually doing decent damage, especially with Robin's buff. And keep in mind, of course, we also have the additional 12% defense ignore after we cast Jade's ultimate, right? So that's gonna be that. Jade's 140 energy cost is really hurts her a little bit because it does take a while to get this 140 energy ultimate going. I'm gonna be casting my adventuring skill because otherwise my topaz might die, so I didn't really want to get that. It is what it is. Jade going for the basic into a follow-up. 198,000 follow-up. So Jade is gonna go ahead and just do a thing. Topaz almost passing away. It is what it is. But we do have really big damage now. We're from all of our hits. Very, very nice damage. Holy shit. Let's play it again. 1 ultimate. 298 into a follow-up. Into a Topaz hit. Into another follow-up. Oh, that's really big damage here. So now eventually that's gonna finish this box. So it is going to be a 1 cycle clear featuring E6S1 Jade on Memory of Chaos floor 12. And with that, we have come to the end of my Jade's Creator Experience server early access review. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you don't want to join the Discord, discord.gg/Pokke. We're a very active community of honkaistarrail on a daily basis. Want to check out my streams at twitch.tv/YouTube.com/I'll stream every day. Share it with the Discord. So that's all today. All the best for your Jade pools. All the best for your Firefly pools. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.